why are people doing the things they're doing? Like why would they do that? I don't understand it. It's like, they don't have the fire. They don't have the motor. If you've got that motor, you've got that drive, man, the life you can create. Holy shit. You don't even know what's coming. You don't even know Josh. The greatness that you can have. It's unbelievable.
Brothers and sisters, we can't thank you enough for all your love, your support, and your faithfulness. It's been brought to my attention, if you really want to do something to bless us, to thank us, apparently simply hitting the like button on YouTube would be more impactful than what I ever knew, let alone subscribing to us on YouTube if you're not already. And then over on Spotify and Apple, please leave us a review. All of your listening and your comments to us mean the world to us. And do us a favor and just hit like on YouTube and leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're going to continue to serve you with our whole heart. Thank you so much. Tattoo Guardians all over the world, we're back with another episode. It's me, Mr. Matt Clemmer, the legendary Joshua Carlton, who has just imparted into all of our lives, still here serving you, wanting to leave tattooing better than when he found it, better than when we found it. My God, thank you for being here, Brother Josh. And we got Mr. Mike Cyrano-Yashki doing the beats for us in the background, which you may wonder why I say that. There ain't no beats. The fuck he always say that for, right? We'll say that for another time. How are you, Brother Josh? Yeah, there it is.
I'm good. I'm bringing the beats.
Yeah, you are.
Good to be back. Good to see you. The weather's getting a little bit nicer out here. How you feeling?
Good, man. I'll tell you, we got some more beautiful love this week. Even on Monday when our episode dropped, you got a beautiful letter of acknowledgement that you sent to me.
Yeah.
Man, that fucking does a lot, doesn't it, Josh?
It does. It was, we get a lot of letters, luckily, which is wonderful. And I read every one of them. But this one in particular, really hit different. It was, without divulging too much information, it was somebody that had really been struggling in their past. And I don't know, it seemed like the podcast episode just came at the exact right time in this person's life. And it really elevated them to a new place they needed to be. And it just felt really good. It just felt really good to know that, like, sometimes, we're like, is anybody even listening? Who knows?
Yeah.
Is this worth doing it? Is this worth our time? We're all insanely busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And little things like that remind me, not even little things, big things like that remind me that not only is this hopefully helping leave tattooing better than we found it, this is maybe helping, be better people than we started.
Whoa, Josh. Whoa. Yeah. Why not? My goodness. Oh, yep. And it's funny because, you bring up that, again, acknowledging this one brother for such a great message to you and I that we so needed to hear. Guys, it's the power of acknowledgement, which is if you think something good about somebody, say it, because we all need to hear it, even me and Josh. Right. Yeah. So thank you, all of you, for acknowledging us. But it's crazy because when you said he shared, like, man, the episode hit him right on time. He needed it. And do you know how many people that seems to happen to? As if there's some sort of extra anointing or magic sprinkled on these episodes that finds people right where they're at in their journey in life. So many people are like, my God, I needed this one today, even if it's an older episode.
Yeah, absolutely. They seem to find it when they need it. You know what I mean? It's interesting how that works out.
Yeah.
Almost every episode we drop, somebody in the comments is like, man, thank you. I needed this today. I needed this right now. And I've definitely been there before. Oftentimes, I need it while we're recording it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And what's even funnier, you listeners, because you guys may think like, wow, Matt and Josh, really gave a good presentation last week. Wonder what they did to prepare. And here they are again. And just full transparency, right now the show's begun. You're listening. And right now, Josh has no clue, and I barely do, on what we're even going to share with you today. But why am I being so transparent? Because I was telling Josh earlier, but Josh and I are both instructors, we're mentors, we're leaders in the industry, and that's been an honor and a blessing. Now, we too are still the students with empty cups at every level. Josh and I will always remain students. but we are also teachers. And with that comes certain responsibility, and people put expectations on you and put you on the pedestal. And as we're learning to set proper intentions and boundaries, what I'm getting at is by the position we hold, even this episode, if we're not careful, could become pressure upon us to show up here every week and drop fucking gold, to know what we're doing. And I was telling Josh before, because Josh and I both like to be prepared. We've been talking. He's asked me for days, like, Matt, what do you feel? What should we both have been thinking about what we should serve up to you today. And sometimes, like you artists, sometimes you can just not know. And instead of falling into the pressure of being like, fuck, I got to think of something, got to come up with something, that we have practiced. And I was sharing Josh all last night and even today, I was practicing being okay with not knowing and just sitting with it instead of applying pressure and being like, wow, this is interesting. I'm scheduled to record an episode here soon and I still have no idea. But instead of like letting it eat my lunch, because it normally would, I stopped and I just allowed myself to be okay with it. And I think that's important for all of us as humans, especially you artists, that it's okay to not know. It's okay to feel stuck. It's just okay. And I feel like, it's the whole thing, that which you resist will persist. But when we just sit with it and lean into it and embrace it, it dissolves quicker.
Yeah, sometimes things can really seem forced as well. Like if we equate this to, you obviously want to be prepared for your tattoo of the day, right?
Right.
Or your multiple tattoos of the day. And sometimes I've noticed myself, as I've learned, I can be over prepared, which will actually kind of make more of a stagnant tattoo, right? It's more, I'm so concentrating on everything trying to be so perfect that I lose some of that, I don't know, maybe the feeling that art can give you. It's technically good. It flows, and it's what the client wanted, and everything seems to work together. But it's just kind of boring,
Yeah.
So sometimes, and I'm certainly not saying to be lazy or anything or unprepared, but maybe like you said, sometimes kind of living in the moment, right?
Man, brother, you're right.
And like where's this day gonna take me?
Oh, what a great question, right? And I love that. I saw an interview of Neil Young recently, and he was kind of talking on that, almost saying like he's not a believer in doing 2 takes. He thinks everyone should plug in their guitars and shit and let it flow out and channel it and make magic, and whatever comes out, that's it. That's it. Neil Young's like, okay, don't try and redo it again and polish it. That was the cut, and there's something beautiful to that rawness.
There really is. It's funny because as you can see, I've got a keyboard behind me, and I will come down here and I will just start dicking around and I'll just hit notes and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm onto something. As soon as I hit record and I hear that metronome, you know what I mean? All of a sudden I'm like, what do I do with my hands? And like everything starts to be, what did that sound like? And I'm trying to fix it. And well, maybe if I do this, and it's the same thing. It's like, it's nice, but it's kind of boring. And that little piece of something that I didn't capture. Now, luckily, I found there's a button on my keyboard that it's kind of always recording, right? So if I do that and I hit capture, it actually will record that little thing I did. And that saved my butt a ton of times. And if you listen to my albums, some of my favorite stuff is stuff that I just came down and was like, it just happened.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good, man. And that's good. Even goes back to when they say, hey, trust your gut instinct. Like whatever comes up first is usually, and even when I would shoot my tattoos, because we all know we worked so hard all day to make our tattoo the best it can be, and it looks fucking great. Now the struggle is getting one photo to do it justice, right? Like, man, it looks it looks so much better per the photo ain't even do it right. Yeah. So that's the battle we all, face too. And I notice, and I'd get them ready and I'd take a picture, right? No one just snaps one photo of their tattoo and it's like, good, got it, right? Yeah. I am the guy that end up taking 40 more different angles, different lighting. And then whenever I'd go back through, and yes, I would extract the keepers, almost every time, Josh, the very first one I snapped was usually the best one.
Absolutely.
So weird.
I've been finding that the cameras are so good nowadays that a lot of times I'll just take video, and that I'll want to post it as video, but I'll just grab a screenshot from the video. You know what I mean? That way I can oh, there's that angle right there. And that's as far as social media goes and stuff, it's definitely good enough quality. I do encourage people to use an actual camera. Like the phones are great, but they over sharpen everything, they oversaturate everything. Like it's kind of baked in. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
Josh, a few minutes ago, you asked a question, and I said, great question. There's something along asking about this day and what could be possible in this day. Do you remember what you asked?
Where will the day take you?
Where will the day take you? And I love that question, and it's applicable to what I did feel led to bring to the table today, which is this. Josh and I are going to touch on this, and this is something we really go deep in with our students. And it comes down to the quality of your life. Tattoo Guardians, you listeners all over the world, let's simplify some things for you today. We're going to give you some real tangible action items. The quality of your life comes down to just two things. The quality of your life comes down to the quality of questions you ask and or live into, or the questions you live out, and the quality of your communication. Not just with the rest of the world, but even with your own self. How do you talk to you, let alone your spouse, your clients, right? But the quality of your life comes down to those two things. The quality of questions you ask and the quality of your communication. And so many of us, and it's powerful. Guys, whether you realize it or not, you got so much power. You are creators. You are co-creators with the whole universe. Did you know that the whole universe was designed to serve you and deliver unto you the evidence of the very thing that you said? It's designed to have your back, what you say, right? So many of us have shit showing up in our life over and over again, wondering why. Why me? Why does this keep happening to me? How's come nobody wants to work with me? How's come no one wants my custom shit? How's come no one can afford my stuff? How's come this always happens to me, right? But do you hear in my language? I'm asking all shit questions. But your own brain and the whole universe is designed to have your back. And so the universe is going to deliver unto you the very answers that you've been asking. But you're asking shit questions. You're getting evidence of more shit. And it's all the shit you don't want. Yeah. Now, we understand why you ask these questions. Like, my God, what's going on? Why does this happen to me? How's come I can't be what, right? But notice in your language, it's about growing in your awareness and realizing your power. And I understand the question, but can you reframe it? The dance is learning how to reframe it and place a new order, please, for you and the whole universe. So to reframe the question, instead of asking things like, how's come nobody, how about you reframe the question? What would it look like for me to be able to figure out how to attract my ideal clients? What would it look like for me to be fully booked out working with people that I love? Where is my tribe? Where is my people? I know they got to exist. I see other people being successful. What must I do? Who must I become? What must I step into to be, do, and have these things, right? The difference is I'm asking now more quality questions out into the universe. Any answer that is delivered up unto me is going to be way more useful because of the quality of questions I'm asking, the evidence that shows up. Where is my people? What does it look like to be fully booked out? How can I put proper value on myself? How can any of these answers are going to be real useful for you to step into the version of you that you actually want to walk out? But so many times we're looking externally. I need to level up in my portfolio. I need to do this. And as all those things matter, we're always going to be growing as artists. But it's an inside job. So many people come to
work with me and to work with me and Josh. And a lot of people be like, man, I got all these problems in my business. When really at the end of the day, you don't have business problems nearly as much as you've got a bunch of personal problems that show up and manifest in your business.
Yeah, I think a good way to spot that, if that's you, is the same thing happening to you over and over and over. You know, this happened at this shop I used to work at, and then I finally quit because it was filled with people that I didn't get along with. So I moved to a new shop, and everything was great for a while, but then it happened again, and it happened again. You know, what's the common denominator here?
Right.
Is it possibly you?
Come on, Josh. Your mindset is so fucking important. How you see yourself is what determines what's even possible for you. Now, so much is possible for you, but why isn't it showing up on level 10 in your life? Could it be the quality of your communication within yourself and the quality of questions you're living into or even asking? That's why I love when Josh brought up, like, where's this day going to take me? What else is possible? What type of magic is in store today? You guys know I've shared with you in recent weeks that in the midst of such pain and trauma, in those places are where miracles are birthed out. And this doesn't just happen once. Guys, I've witnessed a miracle every day since my accident. And I've decided that every day's miracle day. And when I wake up in the morning and I turn and look at Katie and I say, happy miracle day, honey. I wonder what miracles are in store for us today. They're all around you. Are you even looking for them? Right?
It's interesting because for about 2 years now, we wake up every day and the first thing we do is we have 2 dogs, Finn and Willow. And we let Finn and Willow jump up on the bed, and we always kind of like rub their bellies and everything. And I always say, you know, good morning. And I say, good morning, Finn. Good morning, Willow. It's going to be a great day with you in it. And I feel like there's been times that I've been kind of sick and I was late to do that. I even missed a couple of days. And you can tell that even though these are animals, they were waiting. They needed to start their day off. But like, what a great way to start your day. Like, it's going to be a great day with you in it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And you can use that for yourself. I know some listeners are probably listening to this and like, what is this bullshit? But there are things that you subconsciously can seed in your mind that will give you this, that will give you a better day. And I kind of want to just really quickly before I forget, go back to giving, because we talk so much about giving, and Matt and I are inherently such givers that we've given too much of ourselves many times. So just to put it out there, to reiterate, to be careful with just, you know, how much you pour out of your own cup to somebody else's cup before you're empty. And if you're empty, you're not going to be able to give when you really need to.
That's right.
So it is a balancing act. It is not everybody's ready to be saved. And I'm not necessarily the savior of everybody.
That's right.
Not, you know,
That's
so you gotta, there's definitely a balancing act. I wait until I really just feel it. I will just say, you know, I really feel I want to bless this person. If I really feel it in my bones, it happens for sure. But if I'm kind of like watching somebody, the other day I was just in the mall and I saw this woman, and she looked like she was homeless. She was walking around and she was like really neurotically pushing all the chairs around in the food court. And I kept watching her and I was like, I think I'm going to offer to buy her a meal. But I remember thinking, what if I'm wrong and she's not, you know, homeless or in need of any assistance, and I'm just this guy that's like, hey, I'm going to buy you some food. Right. And sure enough, I watched her long enough that she went up to one of the restaurants and she had already ordered food and she was just kind of waiting for her food. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that would have been a time that, like, not only would I kind of embarrass myself of just assuming that somebody needs my help, you know, I'm gonna do something for this person that didn't even necessarily need it. You know, it would have been kind of embarrassing, you know.
Oh yeah, it's great. Oh, I love it.
Even though that's a small thing, it's just to be self-aware, be aware of what's going on around you, and if you feel it, if you really feel it, yes, go for it. But don't empty yourself out to the point of depletion.
Right. Oh, I love that, man. Speaking of, you know, I love that. You know, over the weekend, it was Easter. And of course, I take Sybil my 4-year-old, on the last day to the mall on Saturday to meet the Easter Bunny again, you know, and she's still young enough. She's down, right? Wants to go talk to the Easter Bunny. Since it was the last day, Josh, we get there. Luckily, I had my mom come. Josh, I stood in a fucking 2-hour-long line to get Sybil's picture taken with the Easter Bunny, right? And now I'm all right with that. Thankfully, I brought Mamaw so she could take Sybil off. They went and played, rode trains, and I just called them when it was time. But I was standing there, and we're in line. And of course, there's parents, strollers, and kids. And like most lines, people start to get in a bad mood, like, and I couldn't help but think. And it's everyone's way of being. Who are you being? Yeah. I'm in this line. Of course, I'm totally observing. There's some people like real sweet. There's others patient like me. Then there's others behind me just bitching the whole time. And it's the old, like you say, people bitch about traffic, but you are traffic.
Absolutely.
And this chick behind me in the stroller's bitching about everybody, but and there's 30 people behind her as if like she's bitching about the line, but she's the line.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many people that live in it's my world. Everybody else is just a character in it.
Right.
Oftentimes I'll see somebody, I'll be at the grocery store and somebody will clearly be standing in my way and they don't even acknowledge that I'm around. I'm kind of like hovering. I'm kind of like looking, stretching my neck to see around them, and in their head, they're like, but it's me, and it's like, and I've been there. It's easy to get in your own head. I've definitely noticed it. As I started driving, I've noticed that people are very much in their own world and everybody's in a fucking hurry. That's been one of the really interesting things for me to learn because obviously I'm reading about the proper way to drive and everything. So it's like you would never go even 1 mile over the speed limit, even to pass somebody. And I always thought that like going with the flow of traffic seemed the safer way to drive. And I'm going to probably say like, that's how I will eventually drive. But man, like even just coming to a full stop at a stop sign will piss people the fuck off. It's like, it's like you're not supposed to roll through it. Just slow down, dog. What are you fucking stopping for?
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so good. So yeah, back standing in this Easter line and my radar was wide open, noticing I'm just in observation mode of different people's realities, like parallel universes happening at the same time, all anchored in which each human decided to be. What state of being? Who are they going to be? We're already stuck in a long line, and it's either we accept this and make the most of it and like fucking support one another that we're all here on planet Earth at the same time in space, and this is a silly moment in this whole weird journey called life that we're standing in line to meet a fucking stuffed animal with white ears. Like, does anyone else think this is kind of fucking weird and cool and fun? Like, right? And so I'm just observing, but there's other people making a situation 1,000 times worse.
Yes.
By who they're being and just what's coming out of their mouth, to where the girl behind me was so yuck, I almost felt bad for her. Like, my God, what a miserable fucking place to be in. Like, we're already, you know what I'm saying?
But so she'd be miserable anywhere.
I'm saying, bro. I know it, dude. At least we're alive. We're in the mall and we're fucking in line for the Easter Bunny. Like, this ain't a big deal. I mean, you got to care, but not that much, you know? Oh, but in that moment, so even, especially people that are sensitives and even empaths, when we can feel and observe all these and our radar's going, we still get to choose, okay, who am I going to be? And even though I'm observing, am I going to absorb? I'm going to let this girl's yuck actually get in me. It's already kind of on me. I'm like trying to get that dirt off my shoulder, right? But anyways, I'm standing there and just I start having a love attack for whatever reason, Josh. Compassion just floods over me. For everyone I'm around, everyone in that line. I start looking at different people and it's as if I'm able to see in the spirit realm things about them. And I'm just like almost to tears with love for these people and complete strangers. Now that may be weird to y'all, but I guarantee that state of being felt way better than the bitch behind me, right? But anyways, but anyhow, standing there, in line, because there was like parents, mainly moms. I'm a dad, and I don't even have my kids, so I just look like some weird dude as if I'm in line for the Easter Bunny, you know?
You're like, I'm so excited.
I know it. Yay.
Yeah.
You know, but jumping up and down like Elf. Santa!
Finally, yeah. I know him.
You're not the real Easter Bunny, you know. But anyways, I was standing there, and there was this, and he might have been a single dad, beautiful black man holding his baby boy that didn't look to be much older than maybe 14 months, holding him in his arm. And I was struck with such beauty, Josh, and the angle and the lighting on them, man. I'm standing there with nothing else to do, wishing. I was struck with such beauty. It's like, I almost want to paint these guys. And I pulled my phone out to at least try and take pictures of them in case I wanted to. And I'm like taking pictures, but trying not to get
So you're
caught.
already this creepy guy in line, and now you're taking pictures.
And now I'm taking pictures, and in the midst of it, I get caught. And he looks
shit.
at me, but I snap it, and it ends up being fucking great. And I instantly just like pan away as if like I'm not shooting him. I'm acting like I'm just shooting whatever. But there's so much time, and then as the line moves, I get different angles. I ended up taking like 30 shots of this dude and his boy, and I thought, if I ever paint them or not in all my spare time,
Yeah.
I bet this dude would like it. And whether I do or not, some of these photos came out great, and maybe he would want them. And maybe this is, I'm supposed to bless this guy, but instead of in the form of money, with a great photo, capsule in time of him and his boy that he may cherish forever. Great. Now I'm standing in line debating on, am I going to act on any of this? And again, risk being the fucking weird guy. Right. And I had good 30, 40 minutes to war with it. And he was in front of me. Once he got his shot and was walking off, that's when I had to decide, am I going to obey? Am I going to act or not? Without real clarity on this instruction, just trying to feel led. Anyways, I turned to the woman behind, the nice woman behind me that's been bitching the whole time. It's like, excuse me, but I just got to run over here and talk to this gentleman. I'll be right back. Do you mind saving my place in line? Do you okay if I step out and come back? And you know, because I didn't want her to bitch or whatever. She's like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, cool. And I go run and track this dude down, and I'm just I'm totally authentic and transparent with him, and told him, like, I was struck with your beauty, wanted to paint you, just started taking photos of you. And I just wanted to come tell you, one, because I meant no disrespect to even shoot you and your boy without your permission. And so I wanted to show it to you. And I had actually edited some and made a file of just the good ones. And he was so gracious and gave me his number, and I just airdropped him to him and went and got back in line.
That's awesome.
And I'll never know the full impact of that. You know, the kicker is when I went back in line, the chick behind me, she was gone. The person that was supposed to save my space was fucking gone. And so but luckily, since I kind of stand out, everyone else, you know, noticed I had been in there.
They're
for
like,
an
oh yeah,
hour
let the creep back in so he can take pictures of everybody else. He already scared the bitch off behind us.
I know it. I know it. Oh, God. But I think I just shared that for two reasons. One, it's another form of how you can be a blessing or a giver in someone's life, and it don't cost you $1. But two, can you even see the opportunity or beauty in the midst of what other people view as a moment of misfortune, right? Either way, like Josh always says, this line, either way, the time's going to pass me staying in this line.
Yeah.
But who am I choosing to be during this time? You know, I heard someone say simply the meaning to life. He says the answer to life is, he can answer it in 5 words: enjoying the passage of time.
Yeah. And it's like everything else. We don't want anything to be that simple. We create so many of our own problems because we don't, you know, it's like you go down to hula hooping. It's like it's easier than you think, but you turn it into something harder, right? Your whole life is, I do that constantly. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make tattooing way harder. I figured this out. Guess what? Now I'm going to do it, you know, with my left hand. Like I'm just like, there's so many things I like sabotage myself. And like, I think people are sabotaging their lives. This woman behind you, she waited in line this whole time. She bitched the whole time. She finally gets up there closer and she's like dips out.
Totally, after bitching for an hour and a half, then folds on the deal. Total defeat. You know what I'm saying?
This ain't even the real Easter Bunny. Fuck it. Now that I'm closer up and waited for 4 hours, you know? Or she might have just been so angry that she just wanted to screw you over. She was like, fuck it, I'm not saving his spot. I'm out.
That's right. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Overthinking, the art of creating problems that don't exist. I love that, Josh. We all can overthink and overcomplicate everything and create problems that don't even fucking exist.
Constantly. It's the same, the idea of the analysis paralysis we've talked about. You know, it creeps into your everyday life. You know, you'll start out with, because you're designing something, so you overthink it. I want the best for my client. But when you're in the grocery store and you're looking at 3 different kinds of rice and you can't just pick one because you're like, well, this one's got, you know, jasmine and this one's better for me. It's like, fucking pick a rice. It's not that complicated.
It's not. Oh my gosh. I want to share a little story with you, Josh, and with all you listeners today. And for those of you that want to watch the full story, you can watch this story on YouTube. And it's called, if you type this in YouTube, you're going to type this in, TBOLIT NFL. TBOLIT NFL, which stands for the best offensive lineman in the NFL. So, a mentor of mine and a future coach of mine. Why did I say all this? Guys, there's a certain man that's still alive on planet Earth that I want to take coaching from. He's got a waiting list, highly revered. Just for him to even take you as a client, his fee is $200K. Right? So this dude's at a whole nother level. And I'm speaking to you all guardians right now. Do I got $200K in my back pocket to go get a coaching session with this dude? Like right now in this moment? No. But what you wants you. Josh and I are living our lives with you. We're growing together. So I declare to you today that I'm going to get coaching from this brother named Steve this year. Anyways, he coaches all kinds of folks, from entrepreneurs, billionaires, athletes, all this. This is a story about an offensive lineman from the Arizona Cardinals. And he was in a coaching session with my dude, Steve Hardison. And I'm just going to, there's a big backstory. Again, you guys can watch on YouTube. But the point of the story that I want to mention is he brings in this lineman, sits him down in front of him, and he usually asks his clients, who are you? And people will start saying, well, I'm this and I do this. He's like, no, I don't want to know what you do. Who are you? Right? But anyways, he had this football player in front of him, and he asked him, he leaned forward and he's like, hey, who's the best lineman in the NFL? So this lineman sat and started scrolling through his Rolodex to think of what his answer was going to be. And Steve looked at him and said, cool, thanks. He's like, what do you mean? I didn't say anything. He's like, no, thanks for answering my question. He's like, but I didn't answer it. And he's like, oh, yeah, you did. You answered it loud and clear. And the linebacker was like, or the lineman was like, I don't understand. So Steve was like, let's trade places. Pretend you're me. Pretend I'm you. Pretend I'm you. Now you ask me the same question. So this lineman leans into Steve and he's like, who's the best lineman in the end? And before he even got it out, Steve jumps out of his chair, grabs this lineman by his chest, rips his shirt up and screams in his face. And he's like, if you knew who I was, you wouldn't ask me such a stupid question. And kicked his chair and sat down, looked at him. And he's like, oh, we're out of time. Right? But that one moment, and he was walking him out, that one moment was a hellacious seed that rocked this lineman. Steve looked at him and said, if you got that on the inside of you, it would be game over. Your whole world would change. Right? This story is bigger than football. This isn't even a football story. This is about who you're living into in your commitments to yourself and choosing your own identity and the best version of you. If I was to ask you, who is the best you in your world? Who is the best dad in your house? Who is the best coworker in your world? Whatever, you fill in the blank. But if I was to ask you, who is the best you in your world? At what level are you committed to being the best you? You own it with such tenacity and commitment. I just really, really loved that story. Because commitment rocks the world. You want something to shift in your life, in your tattoo career, in your business, with your spouse, with your children, with your art, get committed. When you're really committed, it's like a black hole. The whole world and all of nature lines up to support your commitment. It really does. It's like a black hole. Commitment has gravitational power. Everything you move, everything you need will move towards you when you're fully committed. And I've got a quote here about commitment from W.H. Murray from the Scottish Himalayan expedition. And it says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy. The chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. The moment one definitely commits itself, themselves, then providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen instances, meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you all, but in your life, has things been taken from you that you had never dreamt would be taken from you? Have you felt loss? Has people been removed out of your life? Have people or things or circumstances been stripped from you, taken from you that you would have never dreamt be taken from you? Then why can't you trust God's source in the universe to deliver unto you magic in your life, things that you'd have never dreamt you could have? If things could be removed from you that you'd have never dreamt you're losing, then trust that things can be brought to you that you'd have never dreamt you could have. Get committed, and the whole world changes. This is something I too am learning with you. I don't have this mastered. I'm talking to myself today as I'm talking to you. I'm reevaluating my commitments in the level of, as if there's fucking levels. And apparently there's not. It's fucking, are you committed or not? You know what I'm saying? I mean, most relationships, especially that are monogamous, you know, if a man was faithful to his wife like 80% of the time, that usually still don't work out. Some
Right.
things, it's just like either you are committed or not. It's not just like, even some of you is like, I'm faithful to my wife 99% of the time. A lot of people that don't, right?
Yeah, Nikki would never fucking go for that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, right. There are some things where there aren't levels of commitment. It's either, are you committed or not, right? And where are you at in your life today, in your commitments and the questions you're even living into to ask? And then your communication, how are you answering those questions? Just like this lineman was asked, who's the greatest lineman in the NFL? Right? But then his coach offered him a total framework and mind shift to own it because he wanted to be the best. Well, then choose and decide and commit right now. And he stepped into being what he had to be to become a pro bowler from the moment of decision. Of realizing, why not choose to be the fucking best you? Right? No matter what.
Do you, here's a question for you. I've noticed that seems to come natural for some people. I think it's fairly rare, but most people fall into the category of like, you see this every day in tattooing, like they're pretty good. They're good enough, right? And they'll say things like, it must be nice, or if I had half of your talent. But, I'm going to go ahead and throw Mike under the bus a little bit here in a good way, because I feel like Mike is one of those rare instances where if Mike were doing anything, he's going to give it his best.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe Mike, I don't know if you can hear me, Mike, or not, but when Mike was a roofer, correct, before all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to bet that Mike was a damn good roofer.
Yeah. Yep.
But why did you have that drive to be your best? What made you do that? Is that something that your family instilled in you? Did you fail at other things in life and that was something you actually had control over? I'm really curious. I'm fascinated by human psychology. What makes somebody have that motor or that drive? And if you don't have it now, can you get it tomorrow?
Man, are you asking me?
Yeah.
I am.
So I've thought about this same question, and I've talked about this same thing with Matt and dozens of other people in my life. It could be some of that. I'm sure I could find a reason for it. My parents always, I remember my dad as a kid being like, you could be anything you want. Just do it as good as you can. And I could call that the reason. I could say that, yes, I've failed I've majorly failed at some things in my life, and maybe it's an attempt for control, but also there's this feeling in me that I've talked about ever since I was like a teenager with my friends, and it just seemed that they didn't quite get it. And it's like I have this feeling inside of me that I'm meant to be great at something, and I don't know what it is.
So that's exactly what I'm looking for right there, because I feel that calling as well.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm going to guess that you have that calling.
Yep.
We have a fire inside.
Yeah.
And obviously, and I apologize, I cut you off, Mike, but you just said exactly what I was looking for. You clearly have an incredible teacher. So you had, it sounds like, parents that helped you, and now in your tattooing journey, you've got an incredible mentor. So it looks to me like, there's the whole nature versus nurture, right? So would you say that Matt is taking on a role that you need in your life to make you already such a strong tattooer? So for those that follow, Mike has recently started tattooing, and he's coming out swinging hard.
Yeah. Mike Ciernoyashki, look him up.
He's really,
just like it sounds.
I'm trying to be super careful because I don't want to get a big head. However, I don't think I would be able to do that because of the way that Mike is.
And if not, I'll fucking squash it.
You bet. Yeah, I'll get on a fucking airplane and I'll fucking wreck you. Don't fuck this up. I do think that it's important to surround yourself with people who can do this for you. If this podcast can give somebody out there a little bit of that, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Because I think that's what we're kind of attempting to do here, right, Matt?
Yes, brother.
Yeah, I'm not claiming to know everything at all, but you can learn from my mistakes for sure. Because I've made a fucking lot of them. I've failed. I'm on my third marriage. That means I failed 2 marriages before this. I have another child that I don't really see. She's in her 20s now. I failed at that, and I have to live with that every day. But I'll tell you what, ask me who the best father is, and I'll fucking grab you by the shirt, because you should know.
Come on, boy.
Because I learned from that, and I'm a damn good father. And I'm damn good at being married, because I made these mistakes,
Yeah.
and I learned from them. I didn't just bitch about it. I wasn't the one in line bitching. I was observing, and I was learning from my numerous mistakes.
Yes.
So don't let those keep you down. We've all done them. Mike has made some mistakes. When Mike started to produce our show for us, we asked him, do you want to be a tattoo artist? Because we don't want to get involved in all this shit, and then you want to be a tattoo artist because that's what everybody does. And he's like, nope.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
God damn.
Well, maybe you guys are fucking average.
Exactly.
What?
said maybe if we were average, you wouldn't have been inspired, basically. I think is what he's saying, yeah. But it's a good example of like, well, if you're going to fucking do it, you better do it right. You know, so how committed are you? I guess I'm kind of circling back around to that.
That's right.
How committed are you? Because if you're just going to half-ass it, you're not my tribe. The people that we're looking for, where's my people?
Right.
My people are the people that are committed, that care, that want to be a better version of themselves.
Yeah. Yep.
And that
I
might
love
sound
that.
super stuck up to get on here and be like, I want this, but that's truly in my heart. I want that.
Yeah.
I have a fire inside. And I think most of our listeners are attracted to this podcast because they have a fire inside.
Come
right?
on.
Let's fucking burn this shit together. Let's fucking do this.
That's right, brother. I think you're right. Most of our listeners do have the fire, and we're all listening like, what do we do with the fire? Right?
Exactly.
That's what we're here for. How do we use this fire?
Yeah, you realize you're like, oh, I just thought everybody was like that. Because I used to think that all the time. I'd be like, why are people doing the things they're doing? Like, why would they do that? I don't understand it. And it's like, they don't have the fire. They don't have the motor. And if you've got that motor, you've got that drive, man, the life you can create. Holy shit. You don't even know what's coming. You
That's
don't even
right,
know
Josh.
the greatness that you can have. It's unbelievable.
So true. So shall it be. Josh just said it. So shall it be done in your life today. Oh, it's so good. And for those of you that was listening to him talk to Mike and talk about Mike's got a great mentor, and for those of you that meet, he's like, yeah, well, it must be nice to be Mike. He sits in the person with you, guy, right? Like, he's lucky. Not all of us can work with you, guy, right? And you're missing it already. You're falling into asking all the wrong questions and communication that is not going to serve you. And so you can compare yourself to us or Mike and be like, you don't understand the town I'm in, the shop I'm in. No one, everyone in my shop, no one wants to level up. My mentor's a dick, right? So what you gonna do now? Do you? Who is the greatest in you? And what are you gonna do? Literally, if you got the fire and the motor that Josh is talking about, you can grow out and still cultivate and create. You can outgrow that shop. You can go, right? You can create your best life as long as you fucking decide to, despite all the perceived misfortune, setbacks, people around you. Now, we know it's all about who you associate with, but do not put yourself in some waiting room because of who you're associated with now, and you've deemed them like not whatever, operating whatever, and you're just biting your time until maybe you can get around. Nope, that's the trap too. Who are you being right now in this day, in the passage of time? And are you letting others be your excuse to just play to not lose versus playing to win? Did you know there's a difference between playing to win and just playing to not lose, right? And so many of you have dropped your commitments because of what's going on around you, right? And it doesn't matter. The commitment rocks the world. The right people, the right resources, the right doors will open as you are ready and developing. You don't want to sit around and wait. You can step into the being of it and watch your whole world start to shift. It may not be easy, but it's true. And it's simple, but it's not always easy. Like we said last week, choose your position. Yeah. What are you really going to commit to? Real commitment will rock and change your whole world.
And this is a universal truth. This is the Tattoo Guardians podcast. I know a lot of our listeners are not tattoo artists or even artists. This is a universal truth that has worked since the beginning of time. Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, it's the level of commitment.
So good. So good. And that's a daily thing. I need to remind myself. Yeah. And this, another important thing about commitment, because I heard a big entrepreneur talking, they were asking him about his motor, Josh, and like, how does he not like get down or defeated or discouraged or any of that shit? How do you stay motivated all the time is what they asked him. And he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
And the truth is no one does. Yeah. Right. And he's like, true success is, what do you do on the days when you aren't motivated? What do you do on the days when you're feeling like you're slipping out of your commitment? What are you doing on the days where you don't feel good enough and don't feel worthy? What do you do on those days? And he acts like that's what separates people is the ones that keep going even when they're not, on the days they don't feel like it, but they're staying to their commitment, versus the others that just like, I don't feel like it, so I'm not doing it today, and fall off.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the ones that keep going. It's because they're just always motivated. We just press on anyways.
Yeah, that's so unrealistic. You know, I'm not going to pretend that every day is wonderful at all. I make so many mistakes still, and I always will. Yeah. I do try to learn from them. I do get fucking irritated. I do get pissed off. I become that person in line that's mad because I showed up that way. Yeah. You know, but I will try to go, hey, whoa, wait a minute. What am I doing here? This isn't serving me or anybody, you know?
That's right, brother. That's the awareness game to notice. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. I started to let her rub off on me, become like her. But, I noticed. And, no thanks. Return to sender. I'm going to choose and step into a different way of being. Yeah. Let me try and look at other people in here through the lens of love. That might make me feel better than just being like, this sucks, right? I had to re-choose my position, like Josh said. On the times I have down days, shit that's happened to me lately, even though I'm pushing through it, there's moments where anger will show up, right? And I have a choice. I'll feel it. I just don't pitch a tent and stay there, right? It's re-choosing our position, our commitment of who we've decided to be. But in the process, guess what? Like Josh just said, we'll all fall down. We just get back up.
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow I've got a cancer treatment, and these are always shitty days. You know what I mean? Getting a giant fucking needle stuck into my arteries, and you know, going to be there all day long. And I know it sucks, but it's like, well, you know what? This is going to be a good time for me to observe. I get to watch these other people and look around and strike up. I usually get to strike up awesome conversations with people who've been fighting this, or maybe I'm somebody that maybe it's their first treatment, right? And I'm here doing it for 3 years, and I can talk to them about things to expect and the anecdotal things that have helped me, and I can be somebody for this person because those people have been so there for me in my beginning of my journey. I really needed that. So this is a great opportunity for me to make somebody else's day better, which in turn makes it not so shitty for me, you know? It's really like kind of amazing. And I have to be reminded sometimes, and I'm extremely lucky that I married who I married, because she will be like, look, I understand that you're going through some stuff and your medication's doing this, but you're just being a dick, you know. And she, you know, she'll just kind of shut it down, and you know, I'll even kind of be like, hey, you know what? Let's reset this. Let's kind of start the day over.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Even though I got up,
great, Josh.
Right, like you can start it over at any time, you know, and you just instantly everything falls, and you just take a breath and you feel better, you know. And I know I talk a lot about, don't confuse this with toxic positivity. This is the real stuff. Yeah. This is real. Yeah. And it's like, you say people aren't playing to win, they're just playing to not lose. I don't think most people even realize they're playing. Man. They're just kind of existing, you know, and life just goes by. Like, you know, as you get older especially, you're like, holy shit. I was waiting for the perfect time for me to do that thing I was going to do. And here I am still doing the same thing, but it's 10 years later. Now maybe it's too late. First of all, it's not. You're right.
Well, most of the world is reserved and cynical on the sidelines, judging and talking shit. And it's the few who are actually out on the court, out on the field, out on the game, and playing and trying. And we may be falling all over ourselves, but at least we're fucking on the field.
Exactly.
When the rest of the world's just on the sidelines, reserved, cynical, and judging, right?
Yeah, they got all the answers for sure.
You know, while me and Josh and the rest of the Guardians, we're at least in the game on the field, right?
Yeah.
And so I appreciate all of you, even you listeners, and you watching us on YouTube. Like, it's already extraordinary that you're joining and listening, tuning in every week. Not everyone does this. And I'd say a lot of ordinary people may not. I think it's extraordinary that you join us every week. It already tells us something about you, that you're getting in the game too. And we see you and appreciate you, Guardians, all over the world.
Absolutely.
Man.
You know, I think a part of the reason for starting this podcast was probably a little bit selfish, because I'm looking for my tribe. You know, well, maybe there's somebody out there that thinks like me. Maybe there's somebody out there that, you know, has a fire inside. And you guys came by the droves. You guys showed
Man.
up. You know,
Yeah.
you messaged us. You let us know, hey, we feel that way as well.
Yes.
I've made some really good friendships through this podcast.
Ooh. Yeah, brother. Absolutely. It's wild because on one hand, it feels like we're all just still getting warmed up here.
Yeah.
But man, it's been such a beautiful journey. And again, your guys' acknowledgement, check in and let us know, does the world for us. We needed to hear it. So thank you guys. Big time. Whew. My God. Tattoo Guardians all over the world. We love you with our whole hearts. Thank you. Hopefully today's something shifted on the inside of you. Is it your desire for your commitments? Is your awareness to not judge yourself, but observe and notice? How many fucking shit questions am I asking? Oh man, that ain't gonna help. I don't even want to know the answer to that. And to start reframing the questions you're living into. The questions not only you're saying out loud, but the ones you're saying in your head. If you can get a hold of this one thing will change your life. The quality of your life comes down to it. Hope something today really resonated. Please let us know, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Guardians.